President Trump, the White House, and the banks and crypto, and really just kind of everything. And of course, it broke last night because we can't have anything, okay? Or what does that saying goes? Anyways, this is why we don't have nice things, all right? So the news broke last night, which we kind of knew. We knew that we were going to get some sort of update about the crypto market structure on Friday, the 27th, or Sunday, which would be the first, yeah, because February is a very short month. And the White House, like President Trump was like, we want an update. We want this done. We need it completely done. Okay. We need it done by the first because they've got a lot of other things that are going on right now, as most of you guys have seen all over the news, which we're not going to talk about. There's a lot of really dumb accounts, especially on X, saying, oh my God, Bitcoin recovered because of the WAR and blah, 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 blah. It dumped. But in reality, when you look at the chart, we're in a bear market. We are underneath the EMA 200. Bitcoin's been trading under there. There's a little bit of volatility, and they're looking at short time frames, which is just really annoying. But anyways, I digress. And again, the crypto market structure is important, but it's not the current focus of what's happening in America. And again, we are greatly, greatly behind in places like Dubai and Southeast Asia. We talked about XRP and Ripple and everything that they're doing over in Southeast Asia, just because retail adoption is so big over there, primarily Korea. I think that 33% of 33% when it comes to retail comes when it comes to Ripple XRP is over that way in South Korea. Anyways, welcome back to the O Show, everything crypto every day. We're streaming a little bit early today because I want to go back to bed. I just want to chill. And I'm actually going to get some fried zucchini for breakfast. I know, weird, right? But shout out to Dale. Let's go ahead and get into what's going on when it comes to crypto market structure. So a reporter from Decrypt came out and said that the White House wanted a deal on stablecoin yield that was supposed to be done by this weekend, but a bank source told Decrypt that this is not happening. Allegedly, quote, Patrick Witt, who has been really kind of the liaison for crypto and the White House and bank, like kind of what's going on with everything, made the unfortunate mistake of made the unfortunate error of going out to the press and saying he'd get this done before March. It's not going to get done before March, the source says. The crypto and bank lobbies are still far apart on the issue of yield. We'll circle back to that, which is holding up the crypto market structure bill. Is this language circulating? Yes. Is the language close? No. So the language is circulating. They're just currently discussing it, but the language is not close any way, shape, or form. Because again, the banks have this weird thing to where they're like, okay, we're not worried about competition. We're not worried about we're not worried about competition from crypto exchanges on the yield of stablecoins. We're not worried about deposits fleeting. We just don't want you to have yield. They're basically telling poor people that we think you're too dumb and stupid. We want to continue to use your money. We don't want to give you yield on stablecoins. And I had some, I threw a figure out there like an extra $500 a year or just whatever yield on stablecoins. I don't know what that deposit would look like. That's just me throwing out a number out. Americans deserve access to use their money. Americans deserve to use their money however they see fit. Okay. Point, period, blank. That's what needs to happen. And that's not what's happening because the banks are stopping this. Now, I think that and still quotes over here. I think that there's a very real likelihood that this thing falls apart unless Brian Armstrong comes to the table, the source added, referring to the Coinbase CEO who's been adamant about yield generation. The source emphasized the banks want a deal here, but figured chances of passage could drop near zero in the next month. So the thing that's frustrating about this is a source from the bank. The banks don't want to negotiate in any way, shape, or form. The banks don't want to give you yield on stablecoins. It's like a big issue that they have because that impacts their bottom line. Because right now, they're currently paying you less than 1% to keep your fiat currency in the banks. And then that's not even your money. Once you deposit, it's not your money. They take that, then they loan it out. They're earning at least 4 to 30% on it, depending on what type of investments they do. And if they make a poor investment, because everybody has this convoluted idea that investing means you get money back, it's not the way it works. There's always risk associated with investing. Investing and gambling are like the same things, but investing is a little bit safer, a little bit more not based on the luck of the draw. So that was said by Decrypt. Now, people are clapping back against it. So, Summer Merisinger, I believe that she was from the CFTC. Now she's over at the Blockchain Association. I got to sit down and interview her over at one of the consensus events. Absolutely wonderful. But the Blockchain Association, they're like an advocacy group for crypto over here. So she went ahead and said the characterization is simply wrong. Patrick Witt and the White House have been leading these conversations in good faith, working diligently to move policy forward in a thoughtful, responsible way. And I'm reading the exact post here. Make sure you guys smash the like and push this out, okay? These these are complex negotiations involving multiple stakeholders, and bridging meaningful policy differences takes a sustained engagement. We will continue working constructively with the banking sector and other partners to narrow the gaps and deliver a framework, blah, blah, blah. So basically what she's saying is these conversations and these negotiations are very, very complex, and we're probably not going to get it done by March the 1st. It doesn't seem like in any way, shape, or form, considering what's happening with the US overseas and whatnot. So with that being said, we're probably not going to get crypto market structure. JP Morgan came out and said, if we get this crypto market structure, then, we're going to see a nice little boom happen with crypto in the second quarter, second half of the year. And yeah, that sounds about reasonable. But the reality is we are not going to get crypto market structure done right now. We're not, because the banks do not want to budge. The banks don't want to budge any way, shape, or form. The banks have a lot more money than crypto companies, and they have a better network and better ties. So I know that the OCC, we talked about it yesterday on the live stream, but the OCC has a 60-day commenting period, public commenting period about stable coins and different things like that regarding the Genius Act. So I've directed you guys to that page to leave public comments and be like, hey, retail wants yield on stable coins. Just flood them with those comments and do it in a respectful manner. And that's why in the United States of America, we have free speech. And that's why we have a democracy, so that you could respectfully demand those things. So as of right now, Bitcoin is trading underneath the EMA 200. We are technically still in a bear market. A lot of crypto companies continue to build and do really, really great stuff. I've got some Ripple content coming out for you guys. If you guys didn't watch the interview with Charles H. talking about everything that happens, go watch him. It was incredibly helpful, and it also gives you a little bit of inside information as to what happened over at the White House with these conversations. So moral of the story is we don't have a deal when it comes to crypto market structure. It's not seeming like we're going to get this done anytime soon, which is incredibly dangerous, because we have Liz Warren that's chiming off about Morgan Stanley applying for a bank charter, which we will discuss that later, to custody crypto assets. But basically, her little crypto anti-army is still at it. They're still attacking CZ. And if it was a bipartisan attack, I would carry a little bit more weight with me, but it's not a bipartisan attack. It's just strictly coming from the Democrats, which is incredibly unfortunate, because Bitcoin is for the people, by the people, the same with crypto. So we don't have a deal right now. Midterms are coming up. We need to get something done, but we still don't want to have a bad bill. But at the same time, if we want to make America the crypto capital of the world, we need to get it done. And that's not seeming like it's going to happen. Again, places like Southeast Asia and Dubai are just doing a lot better with that than we are, because we've got a really slow process, and our public servants only seem to care about themselves and the bottom of their pockets. But anyways, you guys, I'm gonna go back to bed and enjoy my day. I highly recommend you stay off the internet, because there's a lot of strife and a lot of disgusting behavior and a lot of WAR conversation going around. And I just wish that we can figure out some form of peace globally. But that will never happen, sadly. Anyways, I'm sending you guys love and light. Have a wonderful weekend with your families. Share this, put it out there, all the things. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later at 2 p.m. PT today. And then I got another video for you at 6 p.m. PT. Bye, babies.